Hi everybody, happy Tuesday. Hope everybody's having a good day. I am going to be reading my blog from Psalm 14, and it is called Heartbroken for the Hurting. And the synopsis is God's grace can heal the oppressed and the oppressors. Psalm 14 says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt, their deeds are vile, there is no one who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven on all mankind to see if there are any who understand, any who seek God. All have turned away, all have become corrupt. There is no one who does good, not even one. Do all these evildoers know nothing? They devour my people as though eating bread. They never call on the Lord. But there they are, overwhelmed with dread, for God is present in the company of the righteous. You evildoers frustrate the plans of the poor, but the Lord is their refuge. Oh, that salvation for Israel would come out of Zion. When the Lord restores his people, let Jacob rejoice and Israel be glad." As I was writing this blog, I had just finished reading A Stolen Life by J.C. Duggard, written about her abduction, abuse, and life in captivity for 18 years. It was a hard book to read, with the horrible, detestable things done to her by her abuser written in more specific detail than I was prepared for. The heartbrokenness I was holding in my heart for her story and her life must have made its way up and out as I was pondering this psalm. The thing that kept running through my mind while reading this psalm was, there is nothing new under the sun. The plans of the poor have been frustrated by evildoers from the beginning. The Israelites, persecuted followers of Jesus in the early church, and all throughout history to current-day Christians, slaves, Jews in the Holocaust, aborted babies, the list could go on. You don't have to be financially destitute to be poor. You can be wealthy, well-educated, well-off, well-to-do, well-bred. You don't even have to be born to be poor. The use of poor in this psalm is translated in the original Hebrew to be defined as poor, afflicted, humble, wretched, or oppressed. Anyone can fall victim to oppression or affliction. Anyone who finds themselves on the wrong side of a power struggle. The depravity and disgustingly vile things that happen today and have happened throughout history makes me feel so sad inside. Sad for people who are victimized, preyed upon, persecuted, ostracized, and mistreated. It also makes me heartbroken for the ones handing out the mistreatment. What hurts and fears have they accumulated over time that would lead them to make the choices that they do? How different would their life look if they gave those hurts and fears, their own mistreatments and abuse, over to God instead of passing the hurt on to another innocent person? Verse 3 of this psalm says, "All have turned away, all have become corrupt. There is no one who does good, not even one." Charles Spurgeon says this about verse 3. "What a picture of our race is this! Save only where grace reigns. There is none that doeth good. Humanity, fallen and debased, is a desert without an oasis, a night without a star, a dunghill without a jewel, a hell without a bottom." And then my blog goes on to say how hopeless and despairing we are without God's grace. Our oasis, our star in the dark night, our priceless treasure in the middle of a pile of crap, our rescue from hell itself. And if there is no one who does good, that must include me as well. I'm lost without the grace of God. I would be crushed beneath the weight of my heartbrokenness for the dark and ugly things of this world if I didn't know there will be a day of redemption coming soon, where every wrong will be made right. There will be no more victims, no more oppressed, no more affliction, no more tears. When the Lord restores his people, what a day of rejoicing that will be. So that is my blog on Psalm 14. And a couple things that came to mind just while I was reading this, here at the end where I say, if there is no one who does good, that must include me as well. This idea of not continuing to pass on hurts from generation to generation, that has been huge in my recovery. Because a lot of the things that have driven me to depression and anxiety and food addiction and whatever else I struggle with is the hurt inside me, and feelings of insecurity and resentments and anger and things that I just left undealt with for so many years. And as those pile up inside yourself, they have to have a way to come out. And so if they come out and you're not in a place to deal with those in a healthy way, it comes out, for me, it came out as rage, which I think that probably is surprising to most people, because I am generally a reserved and soft-spoken person on the outside, because that's what my pride wants you to see. But within the four walls of my home, not so much. And the pride makes me ugly when I don't have to keep up the impressiveness of I'm a good girl that doesn't make any mistakes. So all of that hurt inside me, and my own anger and frustrations and all the things that I didn't know how to deal with all these years, the easiest people that, or I guess I should say person, that I could take that out on was my daughter, because she was less powerful than me, and so she's 13, gonna be 14, so I would say over the first 11 years of her life received the brunt of all of the worst parts of me. So that is not easy to admit, number one. It's not easy to undo the damage that has been done there. And so I've had to take the time to look at myself and what causes me to be that way towards her specifically. And it, I would say 99% of the time, comes down to control. She is a strong-willed person, as am I. And as my husband is quick to tell us, we are identical in how we think, how we act. So it's hard to parent someone who is exactly like yourself. I don't know if any of you have that situation, but that is what I've got going on. And I would also say it is hard to parent while you are trying to reparent yourself. Because, in trying to undo years of things that I've, baggage that I've carried, real things that have happened to me that have caused me hurt, things that I have just perceived a certain way that have caused me hurt, and trying to undo all of those things, I'm still simultaneously living real life. And so this process is a daily surrendering to grace, God's grace, surrendering to the fact that I am powerless over anybody else in this house, anybody else in my life. I cannot control anybody. And so those two things have been alongside, being willing to look to see, where are the areas that I am passing that hurt on down the line. And I will say I am grateful to be at the place that I'm at in my journey, where I feel like I still have time to allow God to bring healing and bring restoration, because I know that that's not everybody's story. And so I can definitely say that I'm grateful for that, and that it's possible. I remember 2 years ago when I first started therapy, the thing that I spent the most time talking to my therapist about was my relationship with my daughter, Acacia. It has... gonna cry. It has been the biggest source of frustration in my life. It has been one of the biggest areas of hard work in my life. But it is undoubtedly one of the greatest blessings of my life. To be able to see that hard work pay off, and to be able to connect with her in ways that we've never been able to connect before. To be able to laugh with her and have her confide in me. I don't take any of that for granted. And, as the saying goes, what is it, the days are long, but the years are short, or whatever, just implying that, time does go by quickly. She's going to be a freshman in high school when school starts back up in the fall, if school starts back up in the fall. And I don't want to waste any more time. So that is just something that kind of popped into my head as I was reading these words about, what are the hurts and the fears and the scars that you just cannot surrender to God, to allow Him to bring healing in your own life, to prevent you from continuing that cycle on to the next generation, or even just people in your, hurting, just people within your family, parents or siblings or whatever it is. So anyway, that is the hope that I have to share today. Change is possible. It takes hard work, but it's worth it. And I hope that has been either encouraging or helpful to you. And like I say every day, if you are struggling, I would encourage you to reach out, ask someone for help, ask someone for prayer, ask someone if they will listen to you, because no matter what you're facing, no matter what it looks like, you don't have to go through it alone. So with that, I will leave you guys, and I hope you have a good rest of your Tuesday. I will be back tomorrow with Psalm 15. So I will talk to you all then. Bye-bye.